Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Donald Trump was back in court today for his New York hush money trial, and in a twist no one saw coming, he remained conscious. Which means he was bright-eyed and a bushy-tailed this morning when Judge Merchan held him in contempt of court for violating his gag order again. Again? I've got deja woohoo. This morning, he was fined $1,000 for disparaging remarks about the jurors he made on a right-wing network, saying that they were mostly all Democrat and had been picked so fast. Very unfair, plus no jury is supposed to be of my peers, but I can tell you, from what I can tell, they all love their children, and none of them tagged a porn star at a celebrity golf event featuring Ray Romano. Ray Romano, everyone loves him, except the porn star who was busy loving me. This means Trump has violated his gag order for the 10th time, one more, and the judge says the court will have to consider a jail sanction. Wow. Jail. Wow. Donald Trump could go to Rikers Island. My condolences to whichever prison guard has to conduct the cavity search. Wear a headlamp. In his contempt ruling, Merchan recognized the historic nature of this dilemma, telling Trump he didn't want to put him in jail because, quote, you are a former president of the United States, and possibly the next one as well. Yes, no president has ever served jail time, although Grover Cleveland did spend some time in witness protection as Grover Cincinnati. Now, today, to explain how Trump reimbursed Michael Cohen for paying off Stormy Daniels in 2016, the prosecution called a new witness, former Trump org corporate controller, and Geppetto, realizing he just stepped on that singing cricket, Jeff McConney. At the Trump org, McConney was tasked with getting Michael Cohen paid back for the hush money, and he confirmed that the checks to Cohen came from Trump's personal bank account. Oh. Personal handwritten checks. That's an amateur move. Should have used Zelle. You know their tagline, Zelle. I think it's like Venmo with more buttons. McConney is an expert witness because his time at the Trump org dates back to 1987. In fact, McConney's son, Justin, was the person who basically ran Trump's Twitter feed before Trump learned how to do it himself. Something Justin described as, quote, like the moment the dinosaurs learned to open doors in Jurassic Park. Yes, and is this true? Do we have this? I'm being told we have footage of the moment Trump staff learned he was doing his own tweets.
Hold on to your butts.
Donald Trump isn't always in court. Sometimes he's out shaking his moneymaker to pay his legal bills, and that's what he did at Mar-a-Lago just this weekend. At an event on Saturday, donors reportedly paid at least $40,000 to attend, but according to leaked audio, Trump complained about having to take so many pictures with donors and told people in the crowd that if they didn't get a picture, it was because they didn't give enough money. Hey, donors. I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy who won't get no pic with me. Hanging by the big shrimp tray at the lunch buffet, waving $1 at me. Hey. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, I'm going to do waterfalls. I'm going to do unpretty. Trump went on to say that a nearby wedding at Mar-a-Lago was getting better treatment because the wedding was paying more per person to be there. There's a wedding that costs more than $40,000 a plate. I assume the food options are chicken, fish, or the most dangerous game. At the same event, Trump paraded some of his potential VP picks on stage, making mostly good comments about them, but also remarks about what he views as their weaknesses. He's picking his vice president bachelor style. I really enjoyed our one-on-one time in the fantasy Oval Office, Marco Rubio. Will you accept this news? Speaking of Well, speaking of Marco Rubio, both he and Trump are Florida residents, and the Constitution says that either the president or the vice president must be from a different state as the electors, leading Trump to say that Rubio has a minor Florida problem. Yes. A minor Florida problem, also what you call it when you have unprotected sex with the poolside DJ at the Tampa Bay Hilton. About a week later, you have a minor Florida problem. Trump also brought out Utah Senator and business casual Gerber baby Mike Lee and gave him this ringing endorsement, "I love your haircuts." Talk about damning with faint praise. Marco, very talented. Tim Scott, fantastic campaigner. Mike, hair. At one point, Trump introduced Florida representative and co-worker responding to rumors that there's cake in the break room, Byron Donalds. Donalds is a rising star in the GOP, or as Trump said, somebody who's created something very special politically. I like diversity. Diversité, as you would say.
Wow. Wow.
As who would say? No one in this country. One attendee was South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, seen here about to take her dog for a walk. When he introduced her, Trump did not mention that she had killed her dog, Cricket, like a dog. But no one can see her and not think about that story now. Her memoir isn't even out yet, but excerpts from the book being released don't make her look less like Cruella de Vil. In a later chapter, Noem references President Biden's German Shepherd commander, who has a history of biting Secret Service agents, writing, "What would I do if I was president on the first day in office in 2025? Thanks for asking. I happen to have a list. The first thing I do is make sure Joe Biden's dog was nowhere on the grounds. Commander, say hello to Cricket for me." That's your if I was president fantasy? What happens if she finds a genie's lamp? 3 wishes, kill a dog, and I guess time machine so I could go back and kill Hitler. It's dog. Noem's book. Noem's book isn't just horrifying truths. It's also got some strange lies in it. When talking about her foreign policy experience, Noem writes, "I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong Un. I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. I'd been a children's pastor after all." No, that actually helps. I know, because I taught Sunday school for 3 years, and that's why I was able to give a purple nurple to Muammar Gaddafi. Turns out, that very believable story about her staring down Kim Jong Un is not true. And Noem was confronted about that yesterday by Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation.
Did you meet Kim Jong Un?
Well, as soon as this was brought to my attention, I certainly made some changes.
Yes. Yes, that's why her book, No Going Back, is now called Going Back and Making Some Changes. I don't want no scrubs like you can get no love from me. Passenger. Turning to business news, this network is for sale, if anyone's feeling shoppy. After recent exclusive negotiations expired, Paramount Global's sale process is now wide open. That's right, one lucky buyer could get all the Paramount properties, the FBI's, the CSI's, Blue Bloods, the Sheldons, old and young. All could be yours if the price is right. Oh, you also get the price is right. But act fast, because as of this weekend, Sony is in talks to acquire Paramount. The deal's not a sure thing yet, but Sony is reportedly excited about uniting the studios behind Spider-Man and Mission Impossible. Awesome. We know Tom Cruise does his own stunts, so if he plays Spider-Man, he will get himself bitten by a radioactive spider, and he will go to high school. Of course, at this point, the negotiations were started, right? So nobody knows what's going to happen, but just in case, I have a message for my potential new bosses at Sony Pictures Entertainment. Hello, beloved new parent company. I know that acquiring a new media asset means making some tough decisions. And with that in mind, let me just say that I, Stephen Colbert, loved Madam Web. I thought it was great. I was so excited. I was thrilled. I enjoyed that she was a madam, but also Web. I cannot wait to have a long and fruitful partnership with the people who decided to make Madam Web, a movie about Spider-Man's uncle's coworker. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna listen to some quality music on the go, thanks to my Sony Walkman. There you go. Oh, it's my favorite song. I love Sony, I love Sony, I love Sony, Sony. We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Ethan Hawke and Cedric the Entertainer. And when we come back, my tech segment, Cyborgasm. I love Sony,